home. We're going to be recording by ourselves again today. There's no students with me, so it's nice I don't have to wear a mask, and I hope you can hear me quite well without that. So today we're going to be doing Module 4, Lesson 5 problem set. It's in your workbook. You will need a ruler and a pencil to complete it. If you want to complete it on the Seesaw template that I will definitely upload, it might be a little bit more difficult for you. You can trace the lines, but we're going to be using our ruler to measure and draw. So you might be better off using your ruler and pencil and your math workbook. All right, and it should be on page 23 and 24 in your math workbook. Okay, so if we look at our learning target, if we think about our concept development, what we did yesterday, today's learning target is we can form rectangles by tiling with unit squares to make arrays. So that's exactly what we did yesterday. We tiled rectangles to make arrays. Remember, arrays are objects arranged in rows and columns. And when we make a rectangular array, we're making a rectangle, and we're using square units to make those. Okay? So let's look at our directions here for number 1. It says, use the centimeter side of a ruler to draw in the tiles. So we want to make sure we use the centimeter side of our ruler, and we're going to draw in the tiles. So that's our first set of directions. Okay? Then skip count to find the unknown area. So then we'll skip count to find the unknown area. And then finally, number 3, we'll write a multiplication sentence for each tiled rectangle. Okay? So if we look at the first one is almost done for us. And while these are problems, they're not really word problems, there are a couple knowns they're going to give us in each problem, so we're going to circle those. On A, it says the area equals 18 square centimeters, and our other known is 3 centimeters. That's this side that they give us. And you can see it's 3 centimeters because remember we can count the tiles 1, 2, 3, 3 centimeters for that side. Now they have shown us the skip counting. They're skip counting by 3 because that's what they gave us. And they'll skip count by 3 until they get to the total of 18. And so you can see the skip counting here, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. If you used your fingers to skip count, you would have used 6 fingers. You can also count the tiles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each row. So the number sentence we would write would be 3 times 6 equals 18, and the total area is 18 square centimeters. Now, if you wanted to, when you're done, you can also skip count the rows, just like you would a normal array. There's 6 in each row, so it would be 6, 12, 18. Either way, you're going to get your same total of 18. Why did we skip count by 3 first? Because they gave us 3. We were trying to see how many 3s we would need to make 18. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some of these. I'm going to go back and work under the Elmo, and then before we're done, we're going to do some word problems where we have to draw some rectangles in the tile. So hopefully you'll be able to hear me, but I'm going to be at the back of the room working under the Elmo with my pencil and my ruler. Remember, if you need to pause the video to get your supplies ready, please go ahead and do that and restart it, okay? Okay, here we are. So, B, the area equals blank square centimeters. So we don't know what that is. There we go. So this is our unknown, but we know 2 things. We know that this side is 4 centimeters, and we know this side is going to be 5 centimeters. All right, so those are our 2 knowns for this problem. Now I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to use the centimeter side. Now I know this is the centimeter side, first of all, because it says centimeters. Also because centimeters are smaller than inches. If you turn it over, you can see the inches are much bigger. Okay, so these are the centimeters. Now each centimeter is divided in half. And so you only know it's a centimeter when it shows you the number here. So this is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters. Okay, and when you want to measure off the centimeters, you've got to make sure that this is the edge of your ruler right here. This is not the beginning of the ruler. This is the beginning of the ruler. And I'm going to line that up right here with the edge of my rectangle. And now you can see that my 1 centimeter lines up perfectly with theirs. Okay? And now I'm going to find 2. And I'm going to trace up to and put a mark there by the 2 centimeter mark. I'm going to find 3 down here. I'm going to trace up 3 and put a mark by the 3 centimeter mark. And then I'll find 4 and trace up and put a mark by the 4 centimeter mark. Okay? Now that I have those marks, I can draw my lines. Okay, so I'm going to turn my ruler like this. And I'm going to find this first mark here, and I'm going to draw a straight line there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm tiling my rectangle and turning it into square tiles, square centimeter tiles to be exact. Here's my next mark. I'm going to move my ruler over and draw a line there. And here's my next mark. Move my ruler there and draw a line from top to bottom. Make sure it goes all the way from the top of your rectangle to the bottom. Alright, so now I have my columns, but I've got to finish off these rows. Now the nice thing is they've already started them for me, so now I just have to line my ruler up on the line they drew for me and finish it across. And then the same thing with this one. See how I'm lining it up with my ruler and then drawing all the way across. I've got another one I got to line up with my ruler, and I can go all the way across. Okay? Alright, and now I have tiled my ruler. Now I need to skip count to find the unknown area. So on this particular one, I can skip count by either or. So I'm going to start like we do typically with arrays. I'm going to skip count my rows. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more would be 10. 5 more would be 15, and 5 more would be 20. So our total area is 20 square centimeters. Alright, and now I need to write a number sentence for this. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. There are 5 tiles in each row. 4 times 5 equals 20. Okay? Alright, let's go on to C. They've given me different knowns this time. I'm going to circle them. I know this side is 6 centimeters, and they have them drawn in for me. The thing I know in this example is I know the total area is 18 square centimeters. All right, so now I have to say to myself, 6 times what equals 18? And the way I can get my answer, remember, skip counting is really helpful whether you're multiplying, dividing, looking for a missing factor, unknown factor, or even a product. So let's skip count 5 sixes until we get to 18. And we would skip count 6, 12, 18. So we would skip count 3 times. So I'm going to need, if this is 6 here, I hope you can see that, then I need 2 more rows. I need 3 rows altogether because I need 3 sixes to make 18. So I'm lining my ruler up again with the edge of the rectangle, the edge of my ruler. I find the 1, and I know I'm doing it right because the line they drew is right at the 1 centimeter mark. I'm going to come to the 2 centimeter mark, find it down here, trace it up, and put it right there. So this one's going to be pretty easy. I only need to draw that 1 line. I'm going to put my ruler on the mark I made. Now, it is kind of important. You don't want to do it like this because now look at how skinny it is up here and how fat it is down here. So I want to, before I get ready to draw my line, I want to make sure it looks consistent with all the way across, okay? And I feel pretty good about that. It's the same thickness here as it is down here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line now. Okay, now I've got my 3 columns, and now I'm going to finish tiling using the lines they gave me. Okay, and I finished tiling. It's amazing how the ruler makes it look so nice and neat. Now I'm going to finish skip counting because it said skip count to find that unknown area. So I've got 6 plus 6 more. I don't know if you can see this is 12 plus 6 more is 18. So how many 6s? 6 times 3 equals 18. And Mrs. Reed always likes to see if I know what every number my number sentence represents. So we look at the 6. What does that represent? It represents the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows for this side length. If I look at the 3, what does that represent? It represents the 3 squares in each row, because remember these are arrays. They're just special arrays called rectangular arrays. And then 18, of course, represents my row. Okay. Let's do another example up here. We're going to go to D. Go ahead and take a second and circle your knowns. Okay, hopefully you circled the area was 24 square centimeters. And the other known was this side length right here, which is 3. All right? So our number sentence will be 3 times what equals my total of 24. Now, in order to get that, I can skip count by 3 till I get to 24. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. Okay, if you skip counted by 3, so you got to 24, you should get 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and that is 8. So I skip counted by 3 8 times, so now I can fill in my number sentence. 3 times 8 equals 24. So now if this is 3, I'm going to need 8 tiles in each row. Alright, so I'm going to come here again with my handy-dandy ruler, line the edge of the ruler up with a rectangle. And if you have it lined up correctly, you should see the line that they already drew of marker 1. Now I'm going to go and trace up the 2, draw a mark, trace up the 3, draw a mark, trace up the 4, and draw a mark, and continue to trace up 5, 6, and 7. I don't know why these don't seem to fit exactly right. Now that I've made those marks, I can go ahead and finish making my columns. From top to bottom, going through those marks I made. Now I've got my columns, and now I need to finish tiling, and I can use the lines they already drew for me to finish tiling going across. And there we go. Okay, now again, in this one, how did we skip count to get our answer? We skip counted by 3s because we knew this side one. So let's go ahead and label our rectangle and show our skip count, okay? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, right? So again, what does my 3 represent? It represents the 3 rows, or the number of tiles on this side. What does the 8 represent? It represents the 8 tiles in each row, or the 8 tiles on this side, or the 8 columns, if you want to think of it like that. And what does the 24 represent? It represents the total squares. If you were to number these, all of them, you would end up with 24. But what we're finding is, because it's an array, we don't need to count all of the tiles, okay? All right, we're going to go on to the next page. These I'm going to do back up at the board. So I will be right there. So we're going to continue our skill of tiling, but now we're going to do it in the context of word problems. All right? The first one says, Lindsay makes a rectangle with 35 square inch tiles. So I know I'm making a rectangle, and I'm going to use 35 square inch tiles. Good to circle and underline your notes. Next, it says she arranges the tiles in 5 equal rows. So I'm going to circle that, 5 equal rows. The question they're asking, or my unknown, is what are the side lengths of the rectangle? So what are the side lengths of the rectangle? It says use words, pictures, and numbers to support your answer. All right, so I know that I have a total of 35 square inch tiles, and I know I have 5 equal rows. I have to draw some kind of a picture. So if I have 5 equal rows, I'm going to start with that. I need 5 rows, so I'm going to divide that into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tiles, and there's my 5 rows going across. This is called, remember, a rectangular array, because it will be shaped like a rectangle when we're done, and it's still an array because it's nice, neat rows and columns, okay? So I have my 5 tiles here. So look at that. I can actually label that side length 5 inches, because remember, we find the side length by counting the tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, remember before we wrote a number sentence to help us. So the number sentence we can write here is 5 times what will give us 35. So 5 times what will give us 35. Remember, you can skip count. So go ahead and skip count by 5 till you get to 35 and see what you get. All right, let's do it together. Check our work. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. You should have gotten 7. So 5 times 7 equals 35. So in each one of these rows of 5, I'm going to need 7 tiles. All right? So I'm going to draw a row over here. And in that row, I'm going to need 7 tiles because I'm going to have to skip count by 5 7 times. So I have 1 tile, 2 tiles, 3 tiles, 4 tiles, 5 tiles, 6 tiles, 7 tiles. And I'm going to just count them to make sure that I have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I do have 7. All right. I know that side length now because all I had to do was count those tiles, and I just did it, and I had 7 tiles, so that's 7 inches. Remember, the unit we're using is 7 inches. And the question is asking, what are the side lengths of the rectangle? I really don't need to tile the rest of the rectangle, do I? Because I know this side is 5 and that side is 7. But let's just go ahead and tile it anyways. So the way you would finish tiling is draw your outline of your rectangle. We've already got our rows started, so I'm going to finish those rows. We've already got our columns started, so I'll just finish those columns. You don't need to use your ruler for this unless you're more comfortable doing it. You can just, because if you use inches, it won't fit, so you're not really doing this to scale. All right? So I counted by 5 7 times to get to 35. Right? And you can show your skip counting here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. All right, it is a word problem, so we need a TS. So our TS, so that's our work to show our answer. TS, what are the side lengths of the rectangle? We're going to write the side lengths are. 5 inches. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then going across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches. 5 inches and 7 inches. Remember, the side lengths are just measured in units, just inches or centimeters, not square units, because I'm just measuring how long this line is here, and I'm measuring how long that line is. And lucky for us, we can just count the tiles in order to do that. All right? Let's look at the next one. Mark has a total of 24 square inch tiles. So a total of 24 square inch tiles. He uses 18 square inch tiles to build one rectangular array. There's that big word, rectangular array, so we know what we're going to be drawing. We're going to be drawing a rectangle in the form of an array. And he uses the remaining square inch tiles to build a second rectangular array. So the remaining square inch tiles to build a second. Draw 2 arrays that Mark might have made, then write multiplication sentences for each. All right, so we're going to draw 2 arrays. And what do we know? We know the first one, he uses 18 square inch tiles. We also know the total is 24. So I don't know about you, but this is starting to sound like part whole. I have 24 total tiles. I have 18 making up one rectangle, and I have to figure out how many I have making up the other rectangle. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw a number bond because that's how we represent part whole. Remember, my total tiles were 24. Okay, in my first rectangular array, I used 18. And in my second one, well, I don't know what my second one will be, but I can do the math for that. So, some of you might look at this and say, oh, I'm going to add 24 and 18 to get that part. But if you did that, you'd have a number well over 30, and the only tiles we have is 24. So you would never add the whole and the part to get the other part. You always subtract when you have the whole and one part. So our number sentence would be 24 minus 18. And if you do the math there, you will get 6. So our second array will have 6 tiles. Okay, so we need an array, rectangular array with 18 tiles. So I'm going to ask myself, what could I skip count to get a total of 18? Now the kids in our class earlier said, well, Mrs. Rita, I can skip count 6, 12, 18. So I could skip count by 6 3 times. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw a side that has 6 tiles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And we're going to skip count by 6. So let's draw another row with 6 more, because remember we decided to skip count 6, 12, 18. Now if we do the second one, we will have 12. And if we draw one more row with 6 in it again, we will have 8. So there is Mark's first array. We can write a number sentence for that. So if we look at it, how many rows do we have? We have 3 rows. How many do we have in each row? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each row. 3 times 6 equals 8. Now our second array just needs 6 tiles. So the easiest way to do it is let's just count 6. And there's our second array. That can be one of them. So we would write for our number sentence here, we have 1 row, 1 times 6 equals 6. Now that's certainly not the only array you could draw. Some of you might think, oh, well I could do 2 rows of 3. So let's draw a row of 3 and another row of 3. And I would get 6 tiles that way. My number sentence for this would be 2 times 3 equals 6. You could also draw 3 rows of 2, 2, 4, 6, and get 6 tiles. Okay, so we have enough examples here. Over here, I could have also done 6 rows of 3. Can you think of any other ones that I could do that would make 18? What are some other multiplication facts that have a product of 18? How about 2 times 9? We could have made an array with 2 rows of 9, or we could also have made an array with 9 rows of 2 over here. Okay? So a lot of variety. That's why it says might have made. There were a lot of different rectangular arrays you could draw for those. All right? Okay, I'm going to erase the board and go back so we can do our last problem. I'll move our paper up so you can see it. Okay, number 4 is a 2-part problem. It has an A and a B. Let's read what we know. Leon makes a rectangle with 32 square centimeter tiles. So we have a rectangle with 32 square centimeter tiles. Let's make sure we know we're using centimeters now and we're no longer using inches. Okay, what else do they tell us? Another known is there are 4 equal rows of tiles. So just like on the first page, those are our 2 knowns. We have to figure out how many tiles are in each row. Use words, pictures, and numbers to support your answer. Well, remember, we can start with a multiplication sentence. 4 times what equals 32? We have 4 rows. How many will be in each row to make 32? Remember, we can use our skip counting. So we're going to skip count by 4 till we get to 32. Ready? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. That gives us 8. So we will need 8 tiles in each row. We can finish our number sentence right now if you want, because we know it will be 4 groups of 8. I need 4 rows. So look at how I'm going to start my array. I'm going to start my array with 4 rows. That gives me 4 rows, doesn't it? Okay. Now, how many will I need in each row? I'll need 8 in each row because I know 4 times 8 equals 32. So I'm going to extend this. And remember, if you don't get it right the first time, you can always erase. You can add, make your rectangle a little longer. So I've got 2 tiles, 3 tiles, 4 tiles, 5 tiles, 6 tiles, 7 tiles, and I don't like how small that last one is, so I'm going to make it a little bigger. Now, I'm going to count that just to make sure I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do. All right, and then it says how many tiles are in each row. Well, we already found it out without tiling the whole thing, didn't we? So we know there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go ahead and label these sides. This is 4, oops, we want centimeters. This is 4 centimeters, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 centimeters. All right, how many tiles are in each row? Well, there we have our answer. So we can write our TS. There are 8 tiles in each row. All right. Now what I'd like to do is I would like to finish that rectangular array so we can show our skip counting on the array. So we're going to go ahead and finish each row. And now I'll use these lines here to make my columns. Okay, now I skip counted by 4 to get my answer. So I'm going to show my skip counting down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You get the idea. 12 plus 4 is 16. 16 plus 4 is 20. 20 plus 4 is 24. Add 20, add 4 more, you get 28 and 32. All right. Again, you can also skip count the rows. There's 8, 16, 24, 32. So how many tiles are in each row? We answered the question. There are 8 tiles in each row. How many rows are there? There are 4 rows. So if you look at your number sentence, 4 represents the 4 rows. 8 represents the 8 tiles in each row. And 32 represents the total. Okay? Now, it says, can Leon arrange all of his 32 square centimeter tiles into 6 equal rows? So let's do that. Let's try. 6 times what equals 32? Well, let's try skip counting, class. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. What comes after 30? 36. Will we ever land on 32 when we skip count by 6? No, we will not. So we already know the answer, but let's go ahead and draw our rectangle to practice timing. So we have 6 equal rows made up of 32 square centimeters. So let's draw our 6 rows, and we do that by drawing one tall column and dividing it into 6 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we can continue to draw columns of 6. We draw another one, and we can skip count. Just keep extending your rows, so that's 12. Let's do another one. So I got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And we want to get all the way to 32, so let's do another one. And when you add 6, 4 to 18, you get 24. Still not at 32, so we're going to draw another one. You add 6 more to 24, you get 30. And now I'm going to add another one. And you see what's going to happen. If I add 6 more, I get 36. Alright? So, can Leon arrange all of his 32 square centimeter tiles into these 6 equal rows? No, he cannot. He can't because we can't skip count by 6 and get 32. So we say no, he can't. Because we can't. What exactly did we do? We skip counted. We can't skip count by 6 to get 30. So he would need 36 square centimeter tiles in order to make a rectangle with 6 equal rows. Okay? All right, boys and girls, that's your lesson for today. Remember, probably best if you do this in your workbook on those pages and then take pictures. Make sure that when you take a picture, you get a close-up of your page so that your teachers can see your work. We need to know whether or not you understand this skill. Okay, thanks so much, boys and girls.